the human condition hasn't changed. We have our same base nature that's followed us through time. And I guess I love illustrating the commonality and the consistency of the weaknesses and strengths of the human condition.
Well, hello and howdy to you all today. Welcome to my podcast, Fabe the Babe and Everything He Wants to Know. Yes, it's a long title. Today I'm interviewing writer D.L Bogdan. She's an internationally published historical fiction author, with her novels being sold in 14 different countries worldwide. Some of her notable works include Secrets of the Tudor Court and The Somerton Women. She also happens to be my sister. So without further ado, let's welcome in D.L Bogdan.
Hello.
Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So I have lots of questions for you
Sure.
and a little bit of a rapid fire game at the end of our talk. So let's just get started.
All right.
So as long as I've known you my whole life, I always got to hear your first drafts and basically the entirety of the novels before they were published. And I always thought they were great, but I want to go back further than that and ask what initially got you interested in writing and pursuing a career as an author?
So I was always interested in writing and making up stories from as long as I could write, hold a pen and make things up, as a child. And I didn't actively pursue it as a thing to pursue. I mainly pursued the creation part of it, the actual writing of the book. And then after so many times of actually writing a few books, I was like, wait a minute, like I should actually take that a step further and just see, it's a lot of uncertainty and it's a really, really competitive industry. However, I decided that there's a place for everybody. So why not try? I started querying agents and got a lot of rejections. I have a whole binder of rejections that I saved because I kind of used it as motivation to be like, well, the next person, maybe the next person or the next person. And finally one bit. And I got a call and she said, I really want to work with you. And that started everything. And a year later, I had my first 2-book deal with Kensington Publishing House.
That is
out of New York.
amazing. That is so cool.
It was very cool.
And so why historical fiction?
History has pretty much grasped me from childhood. I mean, Dad is really into history. And I think I got that from him. We always used to have historical discussions and we'd kind of talk about how like modern situations and how they echoed historical ones. And he kind of had a way of like illustrating that the human condition hasn't changed. It's just technology.
But we're still the same.
But we have our same base nature that's followed us through time. And I guess I love illustrating different points in time and different either real figures or figures of my own creation to illustrate the commonality and the consistency of the weaknesses and strengths of the human condition.
Human nature.
Throughout time. And to say that we're all the same and it's relatable. It's not something that's so hopeless, but it's actually relatable.
And it helps you to see that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your writing, how do you balance historical accuracy with creative storytelling in your novels?
I try to be of the school of thought to be as accurate as I possibly can with the information that I am able to find and fill in the gaps as an entertainer to make it fleshed out and real for the audience. I've taken liberties in my work a few times. However, I have really tried to stick to the historical record as best I can and I always see myself as I'd like to be as much of an educator as I can a entertainer. I feel like they're intertwined if you're a historical fiction novelist.
And I feel like you do strike that balance.
Thank you.
So how would you say your writing has evolved from your debut novel to your most recent work?
So this is a weird one because my debut novel wasn't my first work. My debut novel was actually my third work. The first 2 works are part of a trilogy that's unpublished right now. Those taught me a lot. So my debut novel, it was a little more polished than like, the first work. However, it is still a debut novel. And looking back on it, I can see things that scream at me like, oh gosh,
go back and change.
Yeah, definitely change. But it definitely
it's all part of the learning process.
Exactly. It was a huge learning curve, especially the business end of it was very difficult. And
yeah, I can imagine. Are there any particular historical figures or events that you're eager to explore in future books?
I don't know. I'm taking a little break from historical fiction right now.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a few things started and a few things finished of historical fiction. One deals with the British Raj in the 19th century, and then the other deals with the first revolution of the country that would become Haiti. I don't know what the future holds for me for historical fiction.
So, what advice would you give to aspiring writers, especially those interested in historical fiction, since that's your wheelhouse as of now?
Yeah, I would just say to not ever give up. Just don't give up. Just keep pitching. I'd say it's maybe like 40% talent and 60% drive and luck.
Mm-hmm.
Because
just hitting the pavement.
Yes, and I really believe there's so many talented writers out there. And I just truly believe I see talented writers on Facebook writing comments thinking this person should really pursue this, and there's so much talent, and it's a really competitive market, but it's worth it. And I strongly encourage anybody interested to just go for it.
Mm-hmm. Last question. Any new projects in the works right now?
I have one that's halfway done.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's the one I'm taking a little bit of a break from right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I have a little bit of a game for us.
Okay.
So this will be rapid fire questions, and it is like a this or that type of situation.
Okay.
So let's just get into it. Books or Kindle?
Kindle.
Novels or short stories? Romance or horror?
Romance.
Sci-fi or fantasy?
Fantasy.
Beach vacation or explore a historical city?
Ooh, that's tough. I think explore a historical city for me.
I thought that's what you would say. Okay, this one's a little tougher, I think, for you. Complicated heroes or complicated villains?
Oh, complicated villains. They're the best.
Well, thank you so much. That's all I have for you today.
Joy.
Appreciate you participating. If any of my listeners today want to check out her works, you can find all of D.L Bogdan's books on Amazon.com. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Over and out.